Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on ASTV, Sport Manitoba's digital media specialist. Is that the new title? Has that always been the title, Nolan, you've had?
It's always been the title, yeah.
It's always digital media specialist. I'm going to have to come to you for a crash course here in a little bit because everything's changing in my world. Welcome to another edition of our ASTV Sportscast with Sport Manitoba. Nolan, earlier last week, we're starting to see some releasing from the government and from public health saying that there's going to be some openings here happening. Before we get to that, let's touch base on a couple of initiatives that have happened over the last month or so with Sport Manitoba. First and foremost, there was a campaign that started earlier this summer in the value of sport. Tell us how that's moving on and how it's progressing.
Yeah, it's progressing quite nicely, Theo. You're right. It's been going on for a few months now. And really what it is it's a campaign to remind Manitobans, and really it's about how sport provides value to the lives of Manitobans. So, the question we're kind of asking is, what does sport mean to you? And that can have an answer, variety of answers from a number of different people, but we're really trying to make Manitobans reflect on that question and just understand that it does and can continue to have a lot of value in their lives. So, we've had a big social media presence on this. You've probably seen, Theo, we've had a lot of posts go out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram about this. We encourage people to join the conversation there and tell us what it means to them. It's still in its infancy, so we're excited about some things coming up as well. But for anyone who wants to learn more about it, we have a lot of resources on our website and kind of a description in more detail about what the campaign is. And actually just recently, we've got some clothing available too for purchase. We've got really nice hoodies and t-shirts that are available to everyone, and 100% of the proceeds go to Kids Sport Manitoba in that effort to just get more and more kids involved. So it's going well so far.
Perfect. No, I'd only like to see that continuation in the infancy, but also progressing into getting the value of comments and suggestions and what sport means to all Manitobans. I mean, I tell everyone I basically came out of the womb with skates on, but I mean, I've learned how to kick soccer balls, throw chuck balls, dig volleyballs, and you name it. I've pretty much done it outside of a tutu. But Nolan, I'm sure you're pretty much the same. I know you talked about starting up and picking up golf again in your off season or your new now season. But sport means a lot to so many people in different ways. So really great initiative and a great campaign started up by you guys there. Moving on with all of these mentions and the restrictions changing and whatnot, are we going to start seeing the Hall of Fame and the Sport Manitoba performance updates, including some actual people?
Absolutely, yeah. So first of all, with the Hall of Fame, just speaking with our Hall of Fame staff yesterday, they're pretty confident that it'll be open early September to the public again. So that's exciting. It's been closed for about a year and a half now, I guess, even longer. So that's exciting. We're getting people back in there into that space in our building, 145 Pacific Avenue. And I was actually in there last week for our summer camp as part of our summer camp program that's running right now with the kids. And there was a scavenger hunt in there. So it's looking good. All the exhibits are on display. Everything's well organized. So it's exciting. And the other thing too with the Hall of Fame, Theo, is the induction dinner will likely resume this fall. We'll likely have an in-person thing again in the fall. Probably be a little smaller than what we're used to in the past, but that's exciting as well, as we've got some catching up to do on some of those honored members, including Milt Stiegel, to properly induct them. So that's where we're at with the Hall of Fame. Performance Center, it's been open for a few weeks now. We've got athletes in there pretty much every day training, so it's been pretty busy, which is great to see. The other thing too about performance is we've got our regional training back up and running. So a lot of people know there's training in Winnipeg with our athletes in our main performance center, but there's also a site in Brandon where athletes can train through Sport Manitoba Performance as well. So I would encourage any athletes in the western part of the province to look into that, because it's a good service for those athletes there. And our athlete membership program is the newest service we have in our performance center. And really what that is, it provides unlimited training for athletes whenever they want. They just have to go online and book a slot, and they can come in whenever. Gives them some flexibility for those that are pretty busy with school or whatever the case may be. It's an individualized program depending on the sport. There's fitness testing, and you can also meet one-on-one with Jeff Wood and Neil Prokop, who are both our performance specialists. So that's kind of an elaborate program for athletes who kind of want to take that training to the next level. All that info is on our website, sportmanitoba.ca.
Oh, that's perfect. I recall seeing a post regarding the Hall of Fame, the actual the exhibits, but I haven't seen them in quite some time because it hasn't been open. But am I assuming that there's going to be a ducky showing up there and having a bit of a space in that area in the near future?
In the Hall of Fame? Ducky, yeah. Well, you know what? You're referring to Dale Howardchuk. You know what? There actually is an exhibit already on display with all of the Howardchuk jersey and some of his pictures. It's actually outside the Hall of Fame in the lobby.
Right.
But certainly, I'm sure there'll be some more plans and some more memorabilia planned for Dale Howardchuk in the near future as well. But we'll probably have more to say on that in the coming weeks. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course, if you've never seen Milt Stegall speak in person, or you haven't seen him on CFL football, truly a legend and someone who grabs your attention, whether he speaks or he's in the presence of the room. Truly an amazing person, that's for sure. Speaking of other updates, we'll get to them in a little bit, but we also have some new blogs in correlation with Sport Manitoba. I mean, we just finished the Olympics. The Paralympics are coming up. We do have a Manitoban heading to the Paralympics this year.
We do, yeah. We have one athlete. I believe a badminton athlete is going. And then we have one official as well. I believe it's a table tennis official who's going. I don't know if all the rosters have been announced, so there might be one or two more or even a few more Manitobans going. We'll wait and see on that. But you're right. We had an Olympic blog a few weeks back that focused on all of the Manitoba Olympians, including Desiree Scott, who obviously won gold, and some others. And then we also outlined some of the Paralympians as well in that blog. So I would encourage people to go on and read that. It's called Manitobans on the World Stage in Tokyo. Of course, the Paralympics start August 24th in Tokyo. So that's an exciting thing. We'll be following that. So that's one of our blogs right now. We've also got one from our performance team. Jeff Wood wrote it. It's on kind of Canada's Summer Games athletes, and with the 2022 games right around the corner next summer, how those athletes prepare, and also the ties between the Canada Games and the Olympics, because so many of those Canada Games athletes have gone on to compete at the Olympic Games. So that was a long piece put together by Jeff. Would encourage athletes to go on and read that as well. And then the last thing, Theo, is just that our book chapter series that we've been doing from iconic stories from 150 years of sport in Manitoba. I'll go back to last month in July. Our most recent chapter that we featured is the one on the Winnipeg Whips baseball team. And so that's kind of timely with the Goldeyes returning to Winnipeg here. For those who don't know, it was the Winnipeg Whips, AAA affiliates of the Montreal Expos in the early 1970s. I believe they were only around for a couple of years. But we had a chapter on them that's pretty interesting, how they came to be. So that's on our website as well.
Fantastic. Next line, something you and I touched on a couple of months back, but it's also a part of the resource section, or one of the resources Sport Manitoba delivers, and that's jobs in sport. And give us an update on some of them that are potentially available, or where to find that info.
Yeah, we've got a lot of jobs available for the last few months, which is great in the sport industry. But there's some internal jobs within Sport Manitoba and some outside. So I'll start with the internal. We've got a couple jobs available in our fitness center for those who are interested in that. 2 Manitoba Games positions as part of our games team here in our building. And then actually one position, I think it's a student position in the Hall of Fame, just a term position. And then I believe we have a physiotherapy position in the Sport Manitoba Clinic as well. So lots in our building. And then we've got a few external postings. I believe there's one with the Y, and a couple others around the city that people can go check out. That's on our careers page of our site.
Perfect. And yeah, we'll definitely touch on that at the end. Last but not least, with everything opening up, what's going on in the facility at 145 Pacific Ave?
Yeah, so more and more, which is great. We're seeing more and more people in our building, more and more foot traffic. Everything except our Hall of Fame, which we hope to open next month, and our meeting rooms in our basement is open. So every other area of our building is now open to the public. Masks are still mandatory, except for fully vaccinated individuals who are either working out or doing some kind of other physical activity in our building. So we're taking still a bit of a cautious approach with that, as many people around the province are. And we still obviously have the COVID restrictions in place for capacity in our fitness and performance centers and things like that. But definitely moving in the right direction. And we encourage people to come back to our building, as we've got more and more going on there. And hopefully we just can continue to go in that direction.
Absolutely. We got to move to where we can do everything properly, safely, but at the same time enjoy it, and without wearing those wonderful pieces of restriction on our face we've become so accustomed to. But it's also something we have to take care of each other and take care of our neighbors. All the info, of course, you will find sportmanitoba.ca. Nolan, Kowal, thanks for joining me. Any plans for the rest of August before we kind of see, I don't know, business as usual perhaps in September? I don't want to foreshadow it, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast our summer goes, right? It still looks like it's going to be 30 degrees again next week. So maybe a couple more weekends at the lake, and then maybe a couple more golf games before you start getting into that fall mindset.
There we go. Of course, sportmanitoba.ca. Find them online. Follow them on Instagram. You guys have a Twitter page too. So, I mean, it's all, everything latest, update news, programming, camps, everything from officials to players to volunteership. You name it, it's there. All sports involved. Truly great to see. Maybe go catch a Gold Eyes game now that they're back home. It's been far too long, and the Fish are doing quite well at home. So it's good to see them back at Shaw Park, which is just maybe it's a foul ball, I guess, behind home plate from where Shaw Park is.
Very close. It'd be a long foul ball, but it's within walking distance.
Maybe a drive, maybe a bit of a putting, maybe a wedge off the concrete. Nonetheless, Nolan Kowal, digital media specialist with Sport Manitoba. Thanks for joining me, catching us up. Look forward to catching up with you next month with Sam, and we'll find out how the beginning of September is shaping up.
Thanks, Theo.
Always. Thanks again for joining us here on ASTV. Always free to watch. And, of course, take care of yourself. Take care of your friends. And, yeah, if you're looking for something to do, 145 Pacific Avenue, tons of parking. Just make sure you bring your mask and take care of yourselves and enjoy that wonderful facility. Lord knows I will. Take care. Bye-bye for now.